All right, so what have you seen out of your quarterbacks, especially Tristan and Jake, through this point, getting so close to the spring game?
A lot of promising things. I think Jake, second year in the system, I think he's got a good feel for what we're trying to do. He's been getting the ball out of his hand, and big thing of ours was reducing our number of sacks from last season. I think he's seeing things, understanding our protections better, and doing a nice job getting the ball out. And then Tristan, I think, kind of his first go-round, he's been running with the twos and a little bit with the ones, and he's done some good things as well. So I think he's been pushing Jake every step of the way, and yeah, I'm excited. I think we just need the rest these next 3 practices. We can use all the work that we can get.
You mentioned trying to cut down on that sack number with that offensive line. I mean, is that more of quarterbacks kind of working on their footwork a little bit more, or does that fall more to the offensive line of understanding the scheme and reducing that number?
I just think the sacks are on both. I mean, we got to do a better job understanding as quarterbacks, understanding where we might be a little bit vulnerable protection-wise, and getting the ball out of our hands. And then the offensive line with their technique and identification and defenses has got to be better too. And so that's been a challenge to the whole offense. That's something that we've really emphasized this spring.
Is there any chance that by the end of spring you and Jonathan would get together and name a starter at quarterback?
I think there's a chance on that, and I think that's something that is his call, and I'm sure after spring ball is over, we'll sit down and kind of talk about how he wants to move forward. But we really haven't,
But that wasn't the case last spring at all, was it? There was no chance you were going to name a starter after.
No, I think last year was too soon. It was our first year, and we really wanted to see, get a good feel for the guys that we had and give everybody opportunities. And I think we need fall camp to make that decision accurately.
Using that kind of reference point from Colorado in that battle that Setho and Steven had when you were there, I mean, it seemed like there was kind of a partialness to the veteran in that position. I mean, does that kind of view of how you and Mike were with Setho and Montez kind of inform maybe what it is out here, looking toward a guy with more experience in the system like Jake has?
Yeah, I think the guy with this experience always has a leg up in the competition. I think it's just he's been in so many situations, and he's had another year of experience in the offense. So I think heading in, that's why kind of Jake, he started with the ones, and he's probably taken a little bit more of the ones than Tristan. But I do think the competition's been really good, and we've got a young guy in Tristan who's coming in just learning, and he's made a lot of plays, and I think it's elevated Jake's game as well.
What advantage would there be to having a star named in the spring going into summer? Is there really any reason why you would want to do that?
No, I think there definitely is. I think there's, the team can kind of rally around him, and I think it gives the guy that you name, it gives him a little bit of, some confidence to where, hey, they believe in me, and this is kind of my show for the summer when the coaches aren't there. I can kind of take ownership of the offense and move forward. You just want to make sure. I think we all just want to make sure it's the right decision and the right. I think with Coach Smith, we just want to make sure it's the right thing for the program as a whole, and so that's something that I'm sure that we'll talk about here probably this week and as spring finishes.
Yeah.
You mentioned player leadership, especially when the coaches aren't around going into the summer. I mean, do you feel like this time in the spring as opposed to last year, there's just a little bit more from this junior and senior class in terms of leading and giving some of these younger guys a better cultural shift than where you guys were this time last year?
I think you can see the culture changing. I think as soon as the coaches go away at the end of spring, we'll see on the leadership end, and I think that'll be a challenge to our guys. I do feel like our guys are taking ownership of what we're doing. I feel like they're buying in offense and defense, to what we're the schemes we're running and what coaches, the culture that Coach Smith's brought in. So I do feel like we're night and day from last spring, but it'll be up to see, I guess, when coaches aren't there and how the off season goes.
Coach, what part of the offense are you going to be watching the most closely on come the spring game this Saturday?
There's all kinds of things. I think for always in a spring game setting, when you get out there and you're playing in front of some people in that setting, I think you want to see who kind of steps up in that atmosphere. And then I think as a coordinator, you always want to just see some clean operation of your system. Usually you're running a lot of just basic scheme. You're not trying to show a lot of stuff that's being televised. So it's just, hey, this is our base, our base plays. Let's go out and execute them in an environment where there's some people around and go make some plays and have some fun. And so I think just the clean operation as far as snap is clean. We're we're not having any substitution issues. We're not jumping off sides. There's a lot of things that you just want it to be like, hey, we're out there, we're sharp, we're going, and guys are just executing our base offense.
Are there a couple things specifically about the offense you've seen advances this spring? Just not overall, but just a couple of specific things.
Yeah, I feel like we've taken some steps. I feel like we've taken some steps in the run game, and we've really challenged our guys up front to be more physical. With a couple of the new schemes and tweaks that we've done, I think the guys have grasped those, and then we've really challenged our guys with some of the play action pass, off of our base run schemes, and we feel like people are going to be loading up to stop Jamar and what he did last year, and we've got to have some counters off of that. And so I think today there was some promising things specifically of guys making some plays downfield and some play action opportunities.
So looking at the format of the game, I know last year a lot of injury issues kind of forced you guys to tinker with that, going away from the 11-on-11. Do you guys, personnel-wise, have enough to kind of maybe get back to that a little bit full scrimmage-wise, or is it still in a spot where you have to kind of move away from that to accommodate?
I know our injury list is long right now, and I think that's something that we'll probably discuss here in the next couple of days as a staff. We really haven't. Coach Smith have a better idea than me, but I know that we're pretty banged up right now. So we'll see.
Thanks.